Ladies, men are not complicated at all. I mean, at all. Men only want about 5 things. If you could provide those 5 things on a constant basis, that man will never leave. Number 1, a man wants gratitude. Number 2, loyalty. I want you to be for me. I want you to ride for me. I want you to always be on my side. I should never look at you and question whose side you on. Sex. Every man loves sex, man. 4, understanding. Understanding the fact that I ain't gonna always get it right. I'm trying to figure it out. I love you enough to try to figure it out. All I ask is grace in that regard. Number 5, attention to detail. Men love attention, bro. It rubs us the wrong way when y'all attention is not on us, bro. Like, don't walk in the crib talking on the phone to your own girls. You ain't greeted your man yet. Like, wrap that call up before you walk in. Ladies, men are not complicated at all. I mean, at all. Men.
But finally, your luck has now run out. Good. Good. You're clever. But not clever enough, because now you will die. I came here because you don't scare me. A brave man. And if I should fail to kill you and you escape, then I vow to retire from fighting.
Up? It's the E&E podcast with your host Kyle, and joined with Karl. I know, Karl, you're not feeling good, so we're going to try to keep this briefer than usual. So you sent me that video, 5 things that men want. And the 5, real quick, are gratitude, loyalty, sex, understanding, and attention to detail. So let's approach it this way. Do you agree with that list?
I do. I agree with it for the most part. When I first heard it, I wasn't sure. Um, but I do agree. Like, if I took it one item at a time, I'm still trying to figure out the gratitude part.
Mm.
Um, yeah, as we talk more, I could definitely explain more.
Hmm. So I'm looking at the list. We could break them all down individually. So let's start with the first one, because you said that you don't have like a working definition for gratitude.
Like,
So
I wrote a definition down on my notes, but I can't access it right now.
okay, so gratitude in a relationship for me is you appreciate what I do for you, and you show that gratitude in the way you treat me back, basically. So,
Okay, with the way you just said that now, I kind of feel like my current relationship, we may have had gratitude before, but right now we're kind of stuck. Like,
mhm.
the relationship feels like it kind of plateaued, and there's nothing really happening for there to be gratitude returned to the other person. Do you know what I mean?
mm, so it's like you're a car that's in neutral, but you're on flat ground. So because there's no movement, basically there's no reason for the wheels to turn, really. So to bring that into like a relationship mindset, if, let's just say, you're in a long distance relationship, and all you are really doing is maybe like texting each other or talking on the phone, and there's really no interaction between one another. It's very hard to show your gratitude for one another when there's really no motion in the relationship.
Yeah, I think you understand what I mean. Like, there's a way I would love to show gratitude, but like you said, if it's a if it's a relationship that's long distance, there's no way to do that.
Or, I mean, it just depends. I agree with that in the sense that when you're long distance, it's a lot harder to keep that perpetual motion moving. I think I used a perpetual. I think I used that word wrong, but basically what I'm saying is it's hard to keep things in action when there's so much distance from each other. Whereas in my marriage, where I'm living up underneath the same roof as the woman, as my wife, um, there's daily opportunities for me to extend myself or for her to extend herself, to then for me or for her to reciprocate feelings of gratitude. So, case in point,
Mhm.
we're currently helping, or we are we are helping take care of her dad who just fallen ill, and now he's back home from the hospital, and now we're all chipping in to help him out, and it's not a big deal, but it can be a lot of weight considering that we have other responsibilities that we have to take care of. And the way I've been seeing gratitude expressed in my day-to-day life is, while my wife is busy helping take care of her father, I am trying to pick up the other tasks that she would normally do so that I can lighten her load.
Mm.
And because I'm lightening her load, she comes back to me and says, I'm so grateful that I have you as a partner because I couldn't do this by myself. And without you, I know I would be in a lot worse situation. So she shows me that gratitude by saying, basically, she shows that gratitude first by acknowledging the fact that she's grateful for my help and my assistance. And she will show that reciprocation in maybe form and gestures of, like a kiss, or she'll make me a cup of coffee, she'll bring me something home from the store, or she might give me some, nah, I mean. So,
Yeah.
you know and that will fall, the non-mean part will fall in the third category, which is sex, but we won't dive into that just yet. But yeah, gratitude, I do see how gratitude is important. And I guess you sent me the video, so I'm not going to probably direct this conversation as much. I would like to see where you want to take it.
You know
Where do
what's
you want to take
funny?
it?
What's funny is that the idea of this topic didn't even originate from me. What was funny is that my girl brought this up to me. She's like, "Do you find this interesting? Do you want to talk about it?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess I do because I kind of, I kind of agree with what's being said, and I guess I could talk about it." Um, but I start to feel like these days that my girl and I are in a weird place because right now there's distance between us, and there's some tension here. Um,
Distance as in.
Distance is physical distance, like she
Oh.
lives further away. And tension because every time I try to connect with her, I have other things in the background trying to take my attention away from her, and it just seems
Mm.
a little hard.
So then there's
So
emotional distance.
right, so it kind of makes me feel like there are times where I feel like she's trying to give me hints and clues, and I'm just not getting it.
Mm.
Anyway, so like yeah. So when I look at this list, I'm like, all right, I'm looking at the list, but at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, why did she send this to me?
Yeah, because here's the thing: the video was about 5 things that men want, but looking at the list again, gratitude, loyalty, understanding, attention to detail. Sorry, that was my other phone. I got
Hmm.
2 phones. Um.
All right.
No. So gratitude. I'm sure your girl would like to see some gratitude. I'm sure your girl would appreciate it if you were loyal. I'm sure your girl would appreciate it if you showed understanding. And I'm sure your girl would be appreciative if you showed attention to detail.
Well,
So,
let's start with the first one, gratitude. When I first met my girlfriend, I think she showed me gratitude first. I brought her into my household. I showed her around. I was very happy just to be around her. And in return, what I got was a cake where she had hardly any money to spare. She found a way to pull some money together and bake me a birthday cake. And I found that so special. And when I think about how the relationship has grown, I think I show her gratitude. I always tell her how I feel like she's improved my life, how she has brought me up from the slums, um, has just made me want more.
yeah.
And I honestly can't say if I have received the same kind of um I don't know what to call it in return. You
So,
know, like
like, if you don't mind me trying to put a word in there, I think what I would say is you said that you were not receiving the same amount of value back as you were giving.
I feel like in the beginning it was a lot of her giving me a lot of attention, gratitude, affection, all that stuff. And over the years things kind of flipped where
Where,
where I'm trying to show her attention, care, gratitude, and all that stuff. But there has
yeah.
been like a dry period in our relationship, you know, with the
So,
distance and all.
so, I get what you mean. So it's like it's just like any relationship. When you meet somebody for the first time, or you're starting to get to know somebody, things are still new,
Mm-hmm.
and it often feels like, and this would kind of fall into the third category, which is sex. But I feel like, at least from a man's point of view, when you meet a female for the first time, it's kind of like there's this cat and mouse game where it's almost like part of the draw to you meeting this new female is the chase. There's this chase where it's like, I don't know, e- even if she gives you signs that she's feeling you, there's still this idea of, if I chase her, will I catch her? And I think as men, that chase excites us. I think it um plays around with the reward centers of our brain, because not only are we engaging in an activity that's fun and exciting and it's open-ended, anything can happen. The ultimate goal is we want to win. We want to win the girl. We want to, you know, let's be real, we might want to be with that girl. So the thing is, you know, I feel like once you cross that finish line and you're both holding hands, and you both get a sense that the other person's not going anywhere, that chase, that cat and mouse game between you dies. And then it's like we always go out to eat. It's not even a treat anymore to go out to eat. You know what I mean? Like, when you first start dating her, it's like, "Hey, let me take you out to eat." You know? But then once you become a couple, then going out to eat is just your normal routine. Like, that's your every day, for at least in my point of view, it's like taking my wife out to eat isn't really a special occasion unless I'm taking her somewhere special because we already go out to eat. Basically, if we're not cooking at home, we go out to eat. So, me taking her to Red Robin's isn't really a date anymore when it could have been a date back when we got together. You know what I mean? And so it's like used to be special between you and your girl has now become mundane. And now you need to find a new way to light that fire of the chase again
Mm.
inside of your girl.
And
Just from my experience growing up, I found that the females who liked me more or less liked me almost like spontaneously, or like they did get to know me, and it's like I can't think of any girl who I just like met and then over time she liked me. I felt like she either liked me or she didn't, kind of thing. You get what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah, I get that.
So I'm not saying that they can't grow to like you. I'm just saying that it just feels like all my female interactions, it was kind of like immediate heat kind of thing. Like I can't think of any girl who I spent a long period of time with and then all of a sudden she's like, I always felt like you were my friend, but now I kind of love you. It's never been like that. It always just kind of felt like you're kind of exciting right now and I kind of want to engage with you. It's always felt like that. Sorry, I got distracted. Basically what I'm trying to say is it's like for females, it always seems like it's instant heat because the way I remember your story is it was kind of like an instant connection, right?
Yeah. Well, the story goes. It's a long one, actually. um, I'm a gamer. I play Xbox. There was this game that was out. That I was interested in getting to spend time with my friends, and so I bought the game, and I got on the game, and by the time I got on the game, which was a game I had to pay to play, my other friends they kind of like stopped playing. So basically, there by myself, trying to find anybody to talk to, because there was people there, but they were just like, I don't know, just doing their own thing. And so I walked up to this avatar of this person, and I was just like, hey, this avatar is kind of cute. Let me give her my a game version of a business card. And I left it in her little pocket, and I ran off. Then she texted me later and she was just like, who is this? Yada yada. I told her my story and she's like, well, hang out with me and my friends. We'll help you out. I was just like, all right, cool. Right. So I'm hanging out with her and, I feel like I'm just kind of like a third wheel in their dynamic. And so I kind of just was in and out. Every once in a while I would say hello. I send a message, how you doing? Are you playing? Can I play with you guys if you're on today? Things like that, not too crazy. And I was going through a slump in my life, in my real life. And so I just had gotten off of work and I was feeling very, very sad about myself. I felt like my future was gonna go downhill quickly. Um, and I got on to Xbox and I just happened to be on that game and she was on that day and I was just telling her how I felt. And she was like, why don't you come out and see me? And up to this point, I lost trust in people and in females because females didn't really like me that much. They would play this little game where they would invite me to do something and then not show up. And
Mm.
so I was afraid of that to happen. Plus, I didn't have a cell phone at the time. So when she told me meet me in this location, like an hour and a half away from me, I'm just like thinking to myself of all the worst things that could happen. Went out to see her up north from where I live. It was an hour and probably 15 minutes away. and we I drove past her by accident. And then when I walked up to see her, I'm like, "Are you you?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm just like, "Oh, okay, cool." We hung out by the water, by the Hudson River at nighttime, looking at New York City skyline, and it was amazing. In fact, I hope that one day we could go back there and just spend some special time in a place that we met up at. And we both talk about it to this day, like we're gonna definitely do that. But that's
Mhm.
basically how me and her met online, gaming.
Mhm. So over that course of time, would you say it was a quick transition into a relationship?
Oh, it was immediately. Like,
Yeah.
once
So
I met her, we went home that same day and we hung out the entire weekend. I had to go to work Monday.
so basically, what I'm trying to get to is, um, you said that your connection with your girl was pretty much instantaneous. You met, and within a matter of days to weeks, you guys were quickly in a relationship.
Yeah, that was all my fault.
Well,
I guess the
my
way I was
point,
thinking about the relationship is like as soon as I'm attracted to someone and I know what I want, then I just like hang on. I'm like, why would I want to get rid of something that I like?
right?
And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the
So,
wrong way of going about it.
so here's the thing. So now we got to bring it back to those five attributes, right?
Right.
You you were you met this girl, she met you, and just the way that I've experienced females, it was an instantaneous connection. So I'm trying to put myself in your girl's shoes, and I'm trying to think about how, she's instantaneously onto you, and she's probably doing nice things for you, and you're doing nice things for her because you're trying to keep her attention. So you're basically, it's almost like you're basically sparking is basically what I'm saying, like, and they're good sparks. I'm getting a mental picture of like two stones that are constantly banging together and how that would make sparks. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
like it's good sparking. It's good sparking, and if you keep doing it and if you put some tinder under it, it lights a fire, right? So you
Right.
keep sparking those rocks. And you and your girl are like every time you guys get together, it's like one little clash and it creates a spark. Click, click, click. Each time you get that click, almost like a lighter, you see a little spark, right?
Mhm.
So you click, click, click the lighter, and it sparks, sparks, sparks. So every time you and your girl are getting together, it's one click, click, and that's fun for a while. It feels like relationships for men and for females, relationships often feel like a chase for that spark. Women often say we lost our spark. We lost that thing that made us passionate about each other. And I think you're not able to be passionate with each other when there's distance and time apart.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
one of the biggest things that make it even harder is the distractions here. Because as you could tell, I'm living in a household with other people and
Yeah.
I'm sharing a space that, people would want to go through to get access to other areas of the house. So, like, it gives me and my girlfriend little to no privacy.
Yeah. And then not only that, but because there's so much time in between you guys, it feels like things grow cold.
Yeah, like right now, almost feels like we're there's sparks, but there's no flame.
Right. So the question is how do you ignite a flame from long distance, and whether they're long distance because you're in one place and she's in another, or emotionally she's in one place and you're in another. it's hard to have a long distance relationship because what brought y'all together was was the enjoyment of creating the sparks. And
Yeah,
I use the illustration of two like Flintstones cracking up against each other. Every time you guys come together, you guys spark and you guys enjoy creating that spark because the spark makes you both feel good. And when you start to put either emotional distance or physical distance in between you, what happens is there's no opportunities to create that spark. So to where at one point those sparks were creating heat between you, now things are growing cold.
right. It's
So
tough, yo. It's really tough now because I want those sparks. I also want everything else that comes with it, like being
so the
able to
question
make.
is
Mm,
so the question is how do you create an atmosphere of how do you create a relationship long distance wise, either emotionally or physically or both? How do you bring that passion back?
mm,
And you either have to go back to doing the things that you were doing before. So, like in your situation, let's say you want to win her back, you got to get into that chase mode with her again. You got to start chasing her. And
yeah.
you got to start, like for you, it's you have a desire for you guys to have that spark again. Does she desire to have that spark again? Or is she at the point where we're good friends and if it doesn't spark anymore, we could be cool, but I don't see this I don't see this heating up to the point where we're catching fire again. Like that's the question I would have for her.
And it's also a question that I've had, and it made me go through periods of depression. Like, am I not good enough anymore? So I tried to change my mindset a little bit to put myself back into chase mode.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I think that we are starting to heat up a little bit, but that distance is really tough. And there's also other circumstances that prevent us from actually coming together. I won't get into it right now, but I am trying my best to eliminate distractions and to give us more privacy. Like, I am trying to move out of the location that I'm currently in into a more private one, just so that way me and her can heat up some more, and
well,
get closer. And yesterday, this just happened yesterday, she started talks again about maybe coming back to this location and spending time with me, and I never expected that.
that's a good
So,
sign. I'll tell you why.
yeah.
So, I think the reason why she sent you that video was because that video wasn't about the 5 things you want, Carl. I think those were the 5 things that she wants from you. I
Mm,
think being that you guys are long distance, you've said to me before that one of your biggest weaknesses is miss the hints and you miss the dangling carrot that you would place in front of your face. She dangles a carrot in front of your face and says, I want you to chase me. And you've already admitted that you've missed the little hints and tips that she's left behind, right?
yeah.
So that would fall into the fifth category where he talked about attention to detail. Maybe what she is looking for is for you to pay more attention to detail.
Mm,
Pay more, you need to start reading her like a book.
right. Yeah, that could be the reason.
The reason why one of the things that has really drawn me and my wife together is the fact that I've grown to appreciate how we read each other like books. Like, I can tell when I'm getting on her nerves. She can tell when she's getting on my nerves. And we already know that if I do A, then she or he is going to react with B. And because we know that if I do A, he or she will react with B, we began to ask ourselves, well, if I go with C, what kind of outcome will I receive? We've learned to read each other to where if I sense that things are off between us, I'm going to come to you and communicate. And that would fall into number 3, number 4 of the video. He said understanding. The fact that we read each other like a book, and we have learned to not only read each other like a book, we read to understand each other. Like, we're past the point where we're just reading each other and saying, oh, I can sense that you have an attitude. We're reading and saying, oh, she has a bad attitude. Let me read into it further and see why. Let me communicate with you so that I can get an understanding why you're upset. And when you're not very pleasant in helping me understand why you're upset, you extend to me grace and space to make mistakes, and I extend grace and space to you when you make mistakes. Because I've often thought about a question, which is, what really is a relationship? I think you and I had a conversation a while back where I said relationships feel more transactional than they do personal. A personal relationship with somebody means I truly care about you and you truly care about me. It's kind of like the most purest personal relationship that I can think of is my relationship with my mom. My mom really doesn't get anything out of loving me. And I don't really get anything out of loving my mom in a material sense. But what we do have from one another is that tight friendship like bond. And because we have that tight friendship like bond, and she has shown me that she loves me unconditionally, and I love her unconditionally because she loved me unconditionally, there is a strong sense of point number 2 on the list, loyalty. I have a strong loyalty towards my mom because of how loyal she's been to me. So
Yeah.
because she's been so loyal to me, I can't help but extend, number 1, gratitude towards my mom. Because my
Mm.
mom is such a wonderful woman for being the kind of woman she's been to me. That's a personal relationship. That's a relationship that doesn't come down to transactions.
Mm.
Whereas it feels like when we start stepping into the dating space or the physical relationship space, it becomes more transactional in that if I take you out on a first date, I should get something physical from you. So the
Hmm.
female dresses up
Yeah,
all nice to draw
I
you in, and
I
you take
remember.
her out on a date. So first off, the female expects the date. She
Mm-hmm.
wants you to take her out to eat. She wants you to provide a meal for her. She wants you to provide entertainment for her. And you take her out on a date, and in exchange for the date, you more than likely want something physical back.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it's not that I think that because that's the way we enter into dating and relationships, we miss the whole foundation of building a personal relationship where we are friends. We are friends first. Now, I'm not saying that you can't fall in love quick, but the thing is because you're falling in love with the fact that he or she is going out on a date with you. He and she is buying you a meal. He and she is entertaining you. He and she is loving on you because you're so interested in creating that heat instead of you're so focused on those moments that you're missing out on the fact that you're getting involved with another human being who has thoughts and feelings, and you're so focused on that heat for yourself, that spark for yourself, that we often forget that that other person is chasing that same spark, that same heat. And what I've learned in my relationship and in my marriage is that when emotional distance and physical distance stops you from creating that spark because there is no personal relationship, that's when you start drawing away from one another. That's when the gratitude starts to disappear. That's when the desire for loyalty starts to wane because it was more transactional than it was personal. When things aren't going your way, you're not getting what you paid for. And what happens when you don't get what you pay for? You take your business elsewhere.
Mm. Wow.
I learned that personally in my relationship because there's times where the transactional mindset doesn't work. And sometimes you really do have to extend patience and kindness and mercy to someone who's not being patient and kind and merciful with you. And,
Right.
and the hard part is not being transactionally mind not having that transactional mindset. Because if you think about it, without having that attention to detail to understand your partner, there's a lack of loyalty, which means there's nothing to be grateful for. And if there's nothing to be grateful for, why would you be passionate with each other and want to be close enough to have sex? Why would you? Because it's interesting. The Bible says that when you have sex with somebody, you're becoming one.
That's what I thought too.
So
I
the
guess.
thing is, so the thing is, why would you guys want to become one if you aren't grateful for one another or loyal to one another if you don't understand each other?
Mm.
You don't pay
Yeah.
attention to me. What's there to be passionate about?
Ooh, you sound like my girlfriend.
But here's the thing. These are all the things that I had to ask myself about my wife when things weren't the way I wanted them to be. I'd be like, why do I want to stay with you? And it's like, at some point, by the grace of God, I realized it's not all about you, bro.
Yeah, I
If
have
a,
to remind myself of that.
if it's a personal relationship, it goes beyond just wanting the spark back.
Of course.
The reason why we all feel so isolated in life is because we forgot how to be friends with people. We forgot
Yeah.
how to just care about somebody.
Yep.
It's all about what you can do for me and what I can do for you. So because we stopped caring about people, everything has become transactional. I blame it on the economic system that we live in where it's all about capitalizing off of a relationship. We're customer service, we all should be we should all be excellent in customer service. But the reason why we're not excellent in customer service is because we suck at relationships.
Yeah.
Because we no longer care about the customer, we care about the money.
Yep.
So the thing is it's crazy how the foundation of life and being around people is all about learning how to work together with people. And a relationship between a man and a woman, especially when you start talking about having sex and the possibility of creating a child, that means you have to work together to raise that child up. And let me tell you, bro, having a 4-year-old, that ain't easy. Meanwhile, life is happening all around us, and sometimes my wife has to step up to do things that require me to just step back and be like, hey, I gotta let you do your thing, which means ultimately I have to be patient for the things that I desire from her. And what am I going to do? Sit here and have an attitude because she's not being everything that I want her to be right now because she's busy trying to help somebody? It goes back to the point that this isn't all about me. The
Mm.
person that I'm with has a whole different life outside of me. And I think often what our females want is our females want us to read into what's going on in their lives. They want us to get involved in their lives, sometimes to their deficit, because we want to handle things our way when they want us to handle things the way they think that we should handle them. But either which way, they want us involved. They want us to pay attention to detail, and they want us to help them. They want us to help lighten their load because every mom meme that my wife has ever sent me has sent me the biggest turn on for a woman is when the man steps in and does the dishes and cleans the house.
Wait, what?
Yeah. The biggest turn on for a female is when her man comes home and cleans the house and does the dishes. Ask any
Wait,
female who's
are
in a
you saying
relationship.
turn on or turn off?
Turn on.
Oh, okay. I agree. I agree.
The biggest turn on is for the man to come home, see that the wife is overwhelmed, and to do the dishes and to clean the house. Why? Because more than likely, she's the one who's always cleaning, and it feels like a non-stop cycle. And when finally someone steps in and says, hey, why don't you take a break? Why don't you relax a little bit and let me handle this? No strings attached. They feel like, wow, like you really care about me enough to like set me free from this duty. And that's how I receive a lot of gratitude. That's what I
Good.
explained to you earlier in the beginning of this call. I know that she's busy helping her dad, and she tells me how overwhelmed she is with her day-to-day tasks. And because I care enough about her to want to lighten her load, because I understand what she's going through, and because I put myself in her shoes and I go, wow, if I was her, this is what I would want. I offer to pitch in, hey, so that you don't have to stress about it, I'll take care of that when I get home. And she says, oh my God, I'm so glad that you stepped in to help me. Because I felt overwhelmed, because I felt anxious that I had so much to do. And
Right.
because she's not anxious and overwhelmed towards the end of the night, and because she's been able to let down her hair a little bit and drop her shoulders from all the tension of her day, she's more relaxed to do the things that I want her to do for me without giving too much detail.
Right. Right.
I get the passion that I want from my wife because I am giving her the things that she needs. So the thing is taking the light off of my relationship for a second and just directing it more towards relationships in general so that it doesn't feel like I'm pointing the finger at you either. I'm saying that whether it's emotional distance or long distance, we got to start being more interested in our significant other rather than interested in ourselves.
Right. And I don't know if are there really guys out there who don't think about their woman? Because like I'm constantly trying to think of my woman, like what does she want? What can I do to help her? What how can I make her feel better?
I
And
think it comes down to the motive, bro. Because a lot of men know how to listen to a female enough to get what they want. The problem is what happens when you're, like I said earlier, what happens when you're paying what you think the fee is to get what you want, and when you're paying that fee, they don't give you what you want. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know what you mean.
So it's like, what if you're doing all the things that you know she's been asking you to do, but for some reason she's not in the mood to satisfy you at the end? It's like, are you then going to stay, or are you going to take your business elsewhere? See, men, at least speaking from my experience, from my vulner I'm going to just be vulnerable and transparent. From the way I was approaching my relationship, I was doing all the right things for many of the wrong reasons. I was doing it with the motive that if I do these things to make her happy, this should be the result. So I understood and I manipulated the knowledge that I had to get what I wanted. Now here's the problem. The problem is for, well, the first problem is I had that mindset. I had a manipulative mindset from the beginning. The flip side is women have caught on to that idea, to that concept that men are just doing certain things to get with me. So now women are constantly walking around wondering I'm if I am really his choice, or am I just something for now that he's going to leave for something better later. So because they don't have the understanding that you're going to be loyal to her, they hold off on the passion until you're able to give them enough evidence that you are here to stay. Or you may be with a female who, now that she knows the games men play, they've decided, well, I'm going to play a similar game. So to where men pretty much only want sex, women really only want the protection that men offer in the form of material, which is why OnlyFans is a thing now. Because you can go online and you could pay a girl to see what you want to say, whatever you want to say, and she receives the money. That's a transaction. So, or when you have men who pay prostitution, bottom line, it's prostitution. When you have men pay for escorts,
Right.
you're paying a chick to show up with you. You're paying a chick to possibly sleep with you. And he's walking away with the bag. So if you really want a transactional relationship, there you go. It's prostitution.
Mm.
It's not a real romantic, emotional relationship where I love you and you love me, and because we love each other, we come together passionately.
You trying to rhyme?
No, that just came out like butter. but that's the truth. We're so transactional that we stopped caring about the person that we say that we quote unquote love. The Bible says that love is patient and kind. So if you're not showing patience and kindness to the person you quote unquote love, do you really love them?
Mm.
And it wasn't until I started being patient when my wife wasn't being kind to me that I started really showing her that I loved her, because the reason why she wasn't being patient and kind to me was because I wasn't being patient and kind to her. And because we weren't being patient and kind to one another, there was no love. It was nothing but bitterness and like resentment towards each other. Like, how did I end up with you?
That's
And the
tough. I feel like I've been in situations similar to that. And yeah, I'm trying to show patience and kindness. I mean, ever since you told me, I forgot how you phrased it. I've been trying to incorporate that into my relationship, and it helped a lot. Um, and I just feel like with the relationship as it is right now, all I feel like I need is just space from the distractions. And once I eliminate the distractions, all that's left is her. And I think I might have some like attention deficit. When it comes to my relationship, I always feel like I get distracted too easily. But when I'm focused and I see the problems coming, she said this to me once. She said to me, um, I'm gonna say my middle name because that's how she calls me. She calls me Miguel. Um, so she says, Miguel, I noticed back in the day, whenever you noticed that there was something even a little bit going wrong, you would notice it and you would do your best to fix it right away. And
attention to detail.
yeah, and I was just like, oh snap, yo, I gotta get back to that. And she would say that too. She would like, um, she would say things like, when we met, I was different, and she wanted that version of me because the version of me now is different, and it's not the one that she likes. In fact, there might be multiple versions of me, and like there'd be one that she kind of likes, and another one that she really likes, and another one that she doesn't like. And I'm like thinking to myself, all right, well, let me try to find the best version of myself to not only make you happy, But if I can make you happy, I'll be able to make others happy, and in turn, they would make me happy. Because right now, I'm just trying to be happy, and
The best.
her and I are just trying to find happiness in each other.
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is first off, what I had to learn was I had to be happy by myself. Now, I'm not saying learn how to be happy isolated from her. I'm saying that you cannot expect to extract what you're missing. I think a lot of it goes back to our conversation about identity. I think the reason why we become very transactional in our approach to personal relationships, such as the one that turns into like a relationship where it turns into marriage,
Hmm.
is because there are missing pieces of us that we're trying to find in other people. So while me and my wife were not getting along, my experience was I drew closer to God and I deepened my faith in God. Deepening my faith in God led me to deepening my relationship with myself, who I am as a person. Like, why did I need this relationship so bad that in some cases I was willing to take certain treatment just to be with her? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So there were certain things that I was bending over backwards taking because I so desperately wanted what she could give me. So we had an unhealthy transactional relationship because on the flip side, she wanted me to be the person she wanted me to be the man that finally make her happy. All the other guys she had been with only have hurt her feelings. There
Right.
might have been one or good people that she was with at a time, but they didn't work out for one reason or another. But the relationships that she remembers very blatantly are the ones that hurt her. So when she got with me, she thought I was going to be the different man. Like, you're the man who's not going to hurt me. You're the man who's going to, I'm going to jump on the back of his steed and we're going to ride off into the sunset. But within months of getting married, things got choppy. Before I forget, I want to put a cap on something you said.
Okay.
You said you want to be the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
And I feel like the best version of ourselves are the version of ourselves that look out for the interests of other people first. The reason why I say that is because the majority of people who you will come in contact with are only thinking about themselves. It's very rare to come across a person who takes such a keen interest in you that you feel like if I can't count on anybody, I can count on you. I think we all want that person who is truly a friend, who's truly a partner, who won't abandon me just because I can't give you what you want and need right now.
Hmm.
Because I think there's a part of all of us who wants to be able to give that person we care about everything that they want and need and can't. And we're all kind of on edge nowadays because there's a culture out there that tells you to level up and leave people behind. Why be with someone who can why be with somebody who can't provide for you when you can be with a man who can put you on a yacht?
Yeah.
Why bother being in a committed relationship where you can bounce from female to female, or you could just pay for it on the internet?
Right.
So if you want to win in relationships, recognize that relationships aren't really about the transactions, it's about meeting the emotional needs of the person.
Yeah.
Like, you got to meet her emotional needs. And sometimes the emotional needs mix with the physical needs, and sometimes the physical needs, mix with just how they perceive the relationship. So I know we talked about not doing things to receive the benefit, but recognize that receiving the benefit, like receiving passion from your partner, receiving intimacy from your partner, does do something for your partner. It's a gift in itself. So, you want to talk about somebody who cares about you, recognizing that your partner wants that intimacy. That's an emotional need in itself. It's a gift. It's when you love somebody so much that it's almost like the only way that I could truly show you that I really love you, boo, is to be with you. Is to be intimate with you. Like, that's, at least for me, that's the biggest way that I feel connected to her.
Yeah. I gotta say, like, I think the same way, but there's so much more, obviously. But the fact that I can't right now take it to that level frustrates me so much.
And if
And
they love you, and if they love you, they will be patient and kind with you through your hardship. Because then it's not all about them. It's about, I am with you. Because when you say your marriage vows, you say for better or for worse, for sickness and health, for richer or for poor. There was a time when you were telling a person that no matter what, I am loyal to you. And that's what I think we all want in a person. We want the person to be down for us no matter what. If I go to jail, I want my girl to come. If I go to jail unjustly, I want my girl to come bust me out. Like, I I want somebody who says, "Yo, if they come for you, they're coming for me too."
yeah,
And that is such a rare quality in people these days because people don't think like that. People are thinking about me. So I'm gonna let you go. The reason why, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, but that thought just came to my mind so strong, which was like, no matter what the situation, if that person really cares about you, they'll stay down for you like four flat tires. They ain't going nowhere because I'm with you.
yeah,
And what's crazy is once you get past some of the physical nature, like once you experience a long period of time where you have to love somebody and you're not getting the physical intimacy part, but you appreciate the fact that this person's been down for you so long, you almost start to experience what real love is. It's deeper than the physical act as much as you want the physical acts. The fact that you know that this person is truly down for you, I think that's a lot more valuable.
Yeah, and she is.
So if you find somebody who's down with you despite not getting what they want, almost like they stayed in the dirt with you. If they stayed in the dirt with you and didn't leave you for somebody who can present cleaner, that person's truly down for you.
Yeah.
And I think if you express that gratitude more and you spent more time paying attention to detail, I think you can help her to appreciate how loyal you've been. And when she sees that you have a deep understanding of her, once you give her enough evidence that you have a deep understanding of her, that passion will grow for you both over time.
I love that. Thanks, bro.
Because that's what has happened between me and my wife.
Yeah, I definitely feel better after hearing you say that. Like, I definitely feel she's been through a lot with me. So I'm so glad to have her.
Yeah, and we got to get back to that. We all got to get back to, I'm so glad that I have you. That I would give my shirt off my back so that you would have what you need.
I can't hear because you don't scare me. A brave man.
All right, bro.
If I should
Well, I
fail to
think this
kill
was
you and
good.
you escape,
Thanks for joining me
I
today, man.
vow to retire
Yeah.
from fighting.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, man. This was the E&E podcast. I think we're going to label this one. What? What do you think we should label this joint?
Hmm. Gratitude? No.
Right.
Loyalty? No. Relationships? I don't know, bro. I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Yeah, probably. How about we label it the 5 things all people want?
There you go.
The 5 things all people want. This was the E&E podcast. Dig deep and aim up to be a better version of yourself. For you and for others.